All right, guys, we are live. My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton, Sehon, and this is True TV, Swiftfire True TV. And I'm really excited because we have a return guest here with us. Really happy to discuss his new movie. We have a director, producer, writer here, second time around. And so excited, Roger, to have you with us. I know you have been extremely busy. To say the least, to make sure that this baby gets birthed in this season. Um, and the event is this Saturday, the 26th, in Phoenix. And I saw a little tiny clip of some of the things, just the little trailer. But while we are jumping in here, I'd love to hear you guys. I'm going to put the links in. And if you guys could please share this is one way you can get this out, because this is really important information that you never know who's going to see this and what it's going to do to activate or bring some truth forward for people within to understand, or bring some missing pieces in. So if you could do your due diligence right now and actually go ahead and hit that share button and get it out here while we share with Roger here tonight. Roger, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. Yeah, it's definitely been a wild ride, especially since our last talk. I think we connected last time when we had finished 1,000 pieces and put 1,000 pieces out. And I think it was right after, the election too. And it was, really, really shocking for all of us. But yeah, our team has been working really, really diligently over the last few months on really kind of, diving deep into the story behind the Deep Rig. For people that don't know about this film, the Deep Rig is based off of a book titled the same by Patrick M. Byrne. Patrick wrote this book shortly after the election happened. He had started posting on his blog. It's called deepcapture.com. It's a great blog, actually, for anybody that wants to follow kind of the inside political machinations of things that happened at that time and kind of from his perspective. But he started documenting everything that he was kind of following and seeing, and started working with, different types of cyber professionals to kind of aggregate a lot of data. And that eventually became what is the Deep Rig book. And I think for anybody from the right, left, in between political spectrums, wherever, should read that book. That book is a testimony to a lot of incredible facts that really prove that our election systems right now are, into shambles, and that it is our responsibility as, a nation to address these issues in whole. And, Patrick's a really interesting character because, he makes it really clear that he didn't vote for Trump. He's a hardcore libertarian. He didn't vote for, right or left, and has never voted for right or left. He's always, stuck from a libertarian perspective. And so, the film, it's not really about what happened to Trump in that standpoint. It's really about what's happening to us collectively here in the country, and what that means. What does it mean when we have a mainstream media and corrupt government officials and a corrupt judiciary all working in tandem with each other, supporting mass fraud on a huge scale on the American public? What does that mean for us, and what are the implications? And so that's kind of in a nutshell what me and our team have been working so diligently on these last few months. And it's coming to a head here. We're going to release do a theater release this weekend in Phoenix. And over the next month, we're asking anybody out in the world who would like to do a theater screening in their own hometowns to put that together. The film is going to be one of the most censored films probably in history. Obviously, the topic of election integrity and the other words that are used for that are strictly banned in certain algorithms and all of those things. And so we, the team behind this film, this was an uphill battle the moment we started. This was a labor of love for all of us to understand that this was going to be an incredible fight to get this information out there. And so we're depending on the public, the digital soldiers, the citizen journalists like yourself, that are willing to, talk about this stuff, that understand the importance of it, but actually, push for this, making into the households of people that otherwise wouldn't maybe look at this stuff. And so a really great way to do that is to, rent a church in your hometown, an old Masonic building, or, a lodge, or, an empty movie theater, an old theater, whatever you would like in your, your hometown, and do a licensed showing there. And these are good business models for people to raise money on their own. Maybe they've got their own organizations, their own nonprofits locally. This is a really good way for the community to be invited into the process of sharing and disseminating the information in this film, but also striking up conversations about it, and sharing the work that they're doing on the same level. So kind of in a nutshell, I think that kind of catches up to the the last 4 months and what we've been doing, and kind of where we're going in the future.
So in Phoenix, there's going to be a live version of this event this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we're doing a live stream screening of the event. This is the premiere. It's at the Dream Church there. You can go to www.thedeeprig.movie to buy either live stream tickets if you want to watch, online, or you can buy in-person tickets there. And the focus of that live stream is to bring together people for a discussion panel in regards to people that are in the film too, that are going to be there, and talking also, and just kind of creating more of a community event launch around this, and having bigger, broader discussions, and premiering the film. And so the first of these theater screenings will begin here in Phoenix, and then after that we will be pushing as hard as we can over the next month to do as many of these theater screenings as possible across the nation.
Yes, and am I correct when you said people are going to be there? Is it going to be? You mentioned discussions. If you're online, are you able to watch these discussions as well, or is that just?
Yes, you will. Yes. So the live stream performance will include the panel beforehand and afterwards, and the conversations. You'll also be able to chat too with the other people within the live stream also. So if you're not able to, make it all the way down to Phoenix in 117-degree weather, then you can go online and be a part of it through kind of the digital world there, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a bird's eye view of just, you mentioned the election situation, but politics in general is quite an interesting situation right now, even with some things that are happening here locally and have been happening this whole time. I think that people are waking up to the fact that these things are going on. Just with people like yourself who are putting in lots of hours, time, and money, your own money, to front this and put it out there. We just had some serious meetings here in our capital for our state just last week, and people came from all over the state that have never come together to testify or to share or whatever. And the lawmakers ran the clock and wouldn't let anyone be heard, and they'd said, okay, not this morning, but this afternoon, and then not this afternoon, but the next day. And then, meantime, people have left, taken off of work, left their children, left their wives or husbands to get out there and just to be a part of it and to testify and to get their voice heard. And some of it was delayed 2-3 days, to the point where people couldn't even, they had to go back, or when they were given the option to speak, it was a big 1 minute that they were allowed to cram in all of their experience and things that they were witnessing and seeing, and why they wanted certain things to go a certain way. So I just had those guys on this week, and they were stunned because that was their first experience. And imagine what our good politicians that actually just want truth, love, peace, something healthy for our future, just honesty. Just a fair playing field. And these guys that are the good guys, whether both sides, there's good guys, both sides, there's bad guys. I think it was eye-opening to their level anyway to see. And, for someone like you, such an artist, to take your gifts, you've written, you're so poetic, you're literally artist, and you take this imagery, put it on a screen so people can actually digest what's really going on in their own homes without having to go anywhere, without having to go run over, take a plane ticket to go to Phoenix to see this opening. This is a very simple amount of money that people can invest in for their own education, their own research, be a part of these platforms, hear what people are saying in a non-censored way, right? And well, at least in this group, right? And you guys are just going to have this awesome time. I'm just so proud of your work, and we're not like besties or anything. I've just followed you for the last 3 movies that you've done, and they've all been pivotal. And for me personally, I send everyone to your movies, and I had a pastor who I had rebooted our last interview because they took my channel down. Mm-hmm. And so I re-premiered it, and I had way more people this time around who were like, wow, I should go see that. And they went back, and one lady saw it 3 times. She watched your last movie 3 times. So I'm actually going to put the information in here for that movie as well, because it's still great information, and it's still so much a part of what we need to understand to help create a new culture of honesty and truth and integrity in our local levels and in our state levels and in our communities, but also our country and nationwide. So what do you have to say as far as like, what was your big aha of interviewing these people, being the one who's like hearing from Patrick and other people, which I don't know if I should say, or if you want to say names of people that you interviewed, I'll let you decide if you want to put that out there. But were any surprises to you in some of the things with your interviews?
I think the biggest surprise is getting a reverb and a feedback.
Oh, sorry. Let me put this. I'll take this down. See, is that better?
Yeah, that's much better. I think some of the biggest surprises for me was really kind of understanding how outdated our systems are and really how disorganized our systems are. I think when people just kind of, think about America and the United States from the standpoint of elections, they think like, we've got these, top systems that, can't be hacked and, can't be manipulated. And, these are top of the line. And really, like, the way this thing is run is like an old jalopy. And to me, that was what was, horrifying to look at, is that, in these modern days of technology and being able to create the ability for really strong and, safe elections and true elections, that we're running off of, a patch system that's really discombobulated, that's not consistent, that allows for so many vulnerabilities, on so many levels. I think really getting in and understanding, the different, cyber texts that showed the vulnerabilities that were there, the paper analysts that showed, the problems with the paper sides of things, the quants that ended up, kind of distilling all of the data afterwards that highlighted huge irregularities that just doesn't happen in nature. These are, many of the things that'll be revealed in this film here. And the film is really, it's an education process for people more to understand our existing system. It's not really kind of going through to, hammer home a lot of the micro specifics. Those will be coming for sure, without a doubt. Those micro specifics will be coming in the future here. But this film is a primer to understand what we're about to kind of see in the whole, and really, get people on board with the understandings of the vulnerabilities that are there and who has access to those vulnerabilities, and, essentially, who was behind manipulating a lot of those vulnerabilities here for a long time. And so I think, those were some of the surprising things for me as a filmmaker. But, I appreciate what you said as far as the art, because that's truly, when I come down to, what I'm doing here and my purpose here, it is to celebrate and be an activist through art and through creation. And I am and have always been under the complete belief that artists are the most incredible revolutionaries, out there, in the ability to influence the collective consciousness. It's why Hollywood was hijacked, from the standpoint of propaganda. It's why the music industry is hijacked from the standpoint of, propaganda. the artists have given consent to, being monetized through these systems and enslaved in these systems. And I hope that as a part of this kind of larger awakening on this planet, this great awakening that's happening right now, is the awakening of the artists taking their power back and, destroying the starving artist archetype, which was a wound that was specifically delivered, to cast a spell on some of the most powerful workers out there and revolutionaries out there, to live in that, to live in those, those loops of, self-destruction, etc. So I hope that's, what kind of comes, and I see that happening, and the more that the public kind of utilizes the citizen journalist angle, people start getting involved, people start creating their own channels. Let's talk about politics here. You mentioned something that's, I think, is really interesting around local politics, and one of the things that this movie, the message behind it, is really driving people home to get involved in politics now, to get involved in these broken systems, to become an observer and watch over these systems and make sure there isn't any more problems like this in the future. But what is coming down the road is the opportunity, if we reform these systems, it's going to reform politics itself in general. These dinosaurs that have been in decades in some cases of roles and positions within our governments, these are the dinosaurs that need to be rooted out. There needs to be a new injection of life, a new injection of parties, a new injection of thoughts and ideas everywhere, from the local politics level to town mayors to counties to states. This is the place where we all got to kind of chip in and jump on board to rebuild the system that's falling apart around us. Because if we don't rebuild it, they're going to rebuild it for us. They're going to rebuild that section for us and then just shuffle us into the next cage. It's our responsibility right now to see that this is the ripest time to pick this fruit from the standpoint of getting involved in changing the status quo that's been there. It's our responsibility in the public to do that. And if you've ever been interested in politics before, this is the time to do that. And I'll say other things too, as influencers moving forward. You guys are at the precipice of becoming, new politicians potentially. You have the ability and the power and the voices to reach, millions and get votes for yourself. What would this world look like if these influencers used all of these likes and all of the attention and the energy, and instead of letting it devour them in narcissism, turn it into service through the work of being involved in politics. So that's kind of my bigger spiel on everything that you shared there. But I'm really hoping that this film allows people to understand that the system is completely at a failure point now, needs to be rebuilt, and there's nobody better to rebuild it than new blood getting into this thing. We can't let the old system rebuild itself.
I totally agree. Yeah. And, part of what I'm seeing about 2020, and I kind of shared this earlier on a last interview, is I'm seeing that 2020 was actually the biggest red pill that there could, it still is a catalyst where people are popping up, popping open. Listen, just like this premiere that I just did, that was a reboot. We did this a year ago and maybe people heard and that jump started some people. But now this whole new set of people who maybe couldn't have heard it a little bit ago are all of a sudden going, oh my gosh, and watching it 3 times. And then their influencers, whether they're over a church or community or families or the school board or what have you, it's giving them an permission and igniting them to actually have a call to action and to do something. Allie's on here. I know she's an actress. They're all levels, whether it's schools, moms at home. Most of these people that I did on this last interview, they're just average moms at home who have a normal 9 to 5 doing what they're doing. And they're still doing this on the side, like most of the influencers as well, but these people at the Capitol. And so in the midst of that, if we can reframe, this is such a hard, and but to make that the catalyst of moving forward and to jump into well, guess what? Thanks for waking me up. And now this is what I'm going to do. These are the new choices that I have. This is my opportunity to make it different and better and to actually say something. to bring the change, to be the change. And yes, I know that you have faced some challenges in that because, number one, most media, as we know, is completely backed by the dollar, right? And so when someone like yourself jumps out and says, I'm going to do a movie, and then you got to figure out, oh, shit, cost stuff, and you don't have all the big industries that are going, oh, here, can you do this for us and make this a Mockingbird situation so all the minions can, suck into this vibe that we're going to control you to do for us, and then change the image. So the image changes, we dive in, we lock into that image, and then we are the creators because we're sucked into that vibration. Where you, on the other hand, you're being the trout. You're being the one going against the water. You are running upstream and birthing. birthing. And what I saw on this little video that I just saw a couple weeks ago, it blew my mind. I don't want to say blew my mind. I was so excited that they took dead trout and they put them in this simulated thing where water was going. And when they did that, hello, am I still here?
Yeah, I still see you.
Okay. When they did that, they actually showed that the trout would go upstream, even dead, against the water, and completely be able to it was the way the technology of their body was, that they were able to still go against the water, completely dead. And so we are alive, and we are the trout, and we have this opportunity right now to do stuff, whether you're an artist or whatever you are. And I think it's awesome and amazing what you're doing. I just appreciate it. What are some things that maybe someone who wants to step out and do that, they might see some challenges? How did you overcome those challenges, and what do you say about that?
I think that for me, I definitely have been, I get pummelings from both sides, to tell you the truth. I get pummelings from the mainstream media about being, a conspiracy theorist. Rachel Maddow just did like a 10-minute segment on me, wouldn't even say my name, would just, just say that, I'm a conspiracy theorist director, etc. And then on the other side of it, in the truth community, I get the real conspiracies, the hyperbole and all of like the drama rumors. Oh, he's got occult tattoos. He's probably deep state, blah, blah, blah. He's an agent for the deep state. So to me, I've gotten hit from both sides of that, like continually in this pressure. And to me, I'm grateful for it. It's made me who I am. It's made me understand really what I am here doing right now, and the work that I am, really, really focused on. And the purpose of, this work here is a catharsis for me. It's a, I work and I create to, feel strong about, my own self, and feel that I'm being of service to this world in some way or some form, somehow, with my gifts. And so, as far as encouragements to others out there, don't be afraid to be you. Don't fall into, subcultures, social cliques. Don't fall into mainstream social cliques. Don't fall into any of it. Really just be you, and understand that, we're all sitting in a situation where none of us know really what's going on. None of us do. There's no one that does. But the only thing that does know is the collective group of us. Our collective consciousness and united state of awareness is, what holds the keys and the answers to all. And it's the divisions and the subdivisions and the separations that keep that schizophrenia of this United States of consciousness, from being able to activate and actually produce, collectively on a mass level, whatever we decide that to be, on the, the highest levels of what we desire for our own well-being and, quality of life. And so the more that you can be authentic, the more that you can create from your authenticity. Maybe, you're not an influencer. Maybe you're not a filmmaker. Maybe you're a baker. Maybe, you're a writer. Maybe, you take care of kids. You're a teacher. All of these expressions of your authenticity can be an expression of truth in so many ways right now. And so my kind of suggestion to anybody out there who's wondering, how do I get involved? I'm only, maybe a house mom here, or, I'm a full-time worker, 40 hours a week here. How do I even get involved? You do it through your life. You do it through living. You do it through the communities that you're a part of. You do it with the utmost authenticity that you can muster, with the most courage you can muster in your heart to be you. And that's a hard thing to do sometimes. A lot of people give their opinions and craft their reality based off of what they entangle from their mouth and dictate around them. And that's an old way of doing things that's slowly going to fall out, and is actually falling out now. But the more that people get involved and live from a space of complete integrity in their own authenticity, and create and contribute through creation, you will thrive in joy. You'll be fulfilled. You'll be able to have a sense of purpose here that is of service truly to helping this world right now transform.
That's awesome. And I think there, for a lot of people who are watching, when you step out and do that, just like Roger has over and over and over again, with each and every step that he had to put in place and have things come together to create this beautiful masterpiece, and all of his previous masterpieces, there is such an energy to it. There is such life, and it brings this. Well, it's living true, and when we live true, we have the chemical backup, and we have the immunity, and we have the digestion, and we have the chemical resources to cause that superhuman feeling that we all have in our technology. And it's only when we're not living true, it's only when we're kind of on the sidelines of not what we're supposed to be doing, that we can get like depleted and like no energy. And so this is the time, you guys, to step out, to help support people like this guy. I mean, he didn't like sit around and go, oh my gosh, I should do it on this topic. I mean, this was presented to him, and he made the choice knowing that this could be the thing, and still did it anyway, because it was burning within him. He knew there's no way not to do it when it was presented. And same with the other stuff. He's uncovering things that most of us don't know about. And I think when you guys watch this, it's going to be eye-opening. Just like the last two movies that he did, they were pivotal in changing the perception of everyone who watched it, which changes all of those at a collective. So people like this guy need your support, and that's why I really encourage his work, and encourage you guys to get out and support him, to be there this Saturday, and to make sure that you do your part of what you need to do wherever you are, but that you are also contributing and participating and supporting the dreams of other people, because that in turn will actually support the collective and inspire others to continue to do what they're supposed to do. So yeah, Allie's saying that's key. This is beautiful. We're getting lots of amazing, beautiful comments about this idea. So what do you see for breakthroughs on the horizon in the middle of all this?
I think that we are about to go through one of the most incredible kind of threading of the needle moments for the collective consciousness. And a lot of people are they'll say, I don't want to watch a film like The Deep Rig or A Thousand Pieces, because it's just gonna show me how things are screwed up, and it depresses me, and what can I do, and the apathy that comes with that, and the surrender to a corrupt system, and all of those things. And so what I tell people, and what I feel so deeply about this film here, but also this coming moment, is we all need to be in a serious state of gratitude, and access the most gratitude that we can possibly have for the darkness. And I know that's a real hard thing for people to even think about, or try to understand what that means. But there is a gift being given to us in this darkness. All of these horrors that are coming out, the atrocities, that have been perpetrated, on the public, by these corrupt institutions, by players behind the scenes, all of these things that are coming out, and what's going to be revealed in this film too. It's all horrifying information from the standpoint of how dark this world is to a certain extent, but it's the gift that they showed us so we can all see. And the gift that they showed us is, they're all tied together. It's like what you were saying. 2020 was the biggest red pill for everybody. Everyone cannot sit back and just go, everything's kosher, everything's cool. Whether you are from a total right, left perspective, it doesn't matter. Everybody has that itch inside them that just knows there's something off now, and the consciousness is primed for that. And so the gift the darkness is giving us to reveal themselves together, to reveal how they're all tied together, is also for us to reveal to ourselves and to the public how to change these things. And we need to be in that state of gratitude. Thank you for doing something so extreme as to, manipulating these elections. Thank you for, showing yourselves, through the censorship, through the tech platforms, through harvesting our data. Thank you for showing the corruption in the FBI, the CIA, the judiciary. Thank you for all of those things, because we see it now. We see you for what you are. And this moment is it needs to be a joyous celebration of that, because that's truly what's on the precipice, that awareness reaching critical mass. And what we need to do as a community that have already kind of prepped ourselves for this, that have gone through this, that have done the research, we need to help the rest of the world not get the bends in this place, and understand that in this transition and this moment of breaching through to the other side, and the awareness that comes with that, our responsibility is to each other, to help each other through this. And again, what a grateful gift to give to the public. The darkness to give is to be there for each other, to support each other in all of this. And when you live in gratitude continually, even for the darkness, it protects you, it shields you. These are my experiences, these are my opinions, and what I've gone through over the last years, pushing continually for this, whether it's been through, the ufology films I've done around, pushing for the release of suppressed technology and, uncovering these black op projects, whether it's been, looking at the corruptions in our agencies through 1,000 pieces, whether it's our broken, voter system now and everything that's happened over 2020 through the deep rig, all of those, those things, that's heavy information that takes some time to acclimate to a certain extent. And so people that have done that work in this community that I have so much love for, I have so much undying love for the truth community. Even the people that can't stand me or have their own perspectives about me, I love you dearly for all the work that you guys are doing. Absolutely. Thank you. Rachel Maddow, thank you. I'm grateful that you spent 10 minutes marketing our film release this weekend.
Exactly.
I'm happy to be called a conspiracy theorist. Thank you from that standpoint. You guys, this is a celebratory time. This is truly a celebration of transformation and this system falling apart. And we just need to get involved now. That's all we need to do. We just need to get involved, to be fearless, be fearless in that pursuit to change things, feel good about it. And the other thing I want to say too is, like, the films that I put together, I haven't put those together. Those films are a collaborative effort of myself and the entire team that I work with, and that collaboration. And that team is extensive, and it's a global team. It's people that contribute from everywhere, from social media management to art, to the films, to editing, to producing, all of those things. That's been a part of these projects, and I encourage people to collaborate with others. You guys will have joy. There is nothing like being able to, collaborate with a group of people and create. Some of the most brilliant pieces of, creation come out of collaboration and come out of multi-perspectives. And so a big part of, this opportunity in the future to organize, if you're sitting at home and you're like, I don't know what to do, I want to help. Organize a screening in your hometown. Take the initiative to rent a building, to be able to screen this film, have a conversation with others, invite people to collaborate with you locally on projects that have to do with your local politics, or support local candidates that are aware and awake to get involved in their local communities. All of these things can be utilized and celebrated. And even in the hardest journeys trying to swim upstream, you will laugh your way through all of it. You will laugh in ecstatic joy for the gift that you've been given to do this work, to be on this road. And I'm extremely grateful to everybody that's been a part of all of this work over the years. And I can't wait to see where it goes from here. It's going to be a beautiful time, I feel.
I love that you always include every one of your team and just make sure that you give credit to everyone that deserves credit. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because you said a few things that I want to just kind of piggyback on. You mentioned the difference between the dark to light and that polarization. And I had an interesting thing happen with a young person this week where they were kind of like Debbie Downer about stuff and just sort of like, I don't know, like Eeyore on Winnie the Pooh kind of thing about everything. And I said to this kid, I was like, dude, you have such a freaking awesome life. Like, how about take a couple minutes and just like be happy about the amazing things that are going on in your life? And her response was, you know what? I think it's, negativity is just my personality. Okay. And I kind of laughed a little bit, but then I realized in her, however, 17 years of being alive, that she has not actually had like a World War II, or, like our grandparents grew up, with just crazy dire situations. And, we've had our versions along the way with, I know I could say I have too, living overseas and bomb threats and, seeing poverty in Haiti and Africa and going on mission trips and seeing like people don't have houses and food and what have you. And so I just said to her, can you just make a conscious choice to take 5 things that you can think of right now and like have gratitude about it? And it took her like 30 minutes to come up with something. But you mentioned that about gratitude also, and I think that with the neuroplasticity within the brain, for it again, we're on this pivotal tipping point situation where this 2020 thing happened, and it's like, are we going to make something out of it, or are we going to just sit around on our butts, hope it gets better, put the covers over our head? In some cases, people are drinking, doing drugs, doing anything, just to bide some time and hope that other people will do it for them. Or will you be the activist? Will you be the artist? Will you be the spokesperson? Will you be the person out there? And trust me, just because we're out here in the public, it doesn't mean that every day things just are perfect and roses, but it's a conscious choice to look at the things that are delightful and wonderful. And I know I have my version. I'm sure you were probably ready to do this set thing, and then technology didn't happen, or these people didn't show up, or whatever, and you could just be like, forget it, let's just not do it anymore, and this sucks, and all you guys are stupid, and or whatever. I mean, even with this video right now, my computer just completely went out while we're live, and it's like, oh well, that just had to happen, so we'll just pick up and do something else. But I'm not going to cry about it all night and be all weird about it forever. It's like, we still get choices moment to moment to moment to moment. And right now, I believe humanity is in the biggest choices of all, not only with education and politics and health, and how we raise our children and what our children are going to be subjected to in their classrooms, and all of that. But job opportunities, lots of people were let go and or quit their jobs, and or and going, well, now what am I going to do now? And I think we're personally up for a serious financial situation here coming up in the next few months. And if we are not ready, if you think 2020 was crazy, fasten your freaking seatbelts and get ready, because there has to be a balance to all of these handouts that have been going with checks and all this free stay at home, and just get a check in the mail and you get more money to sit on your butt than actual working for a living. And these interest rates that have been so low that are now going to come up, and there's going to be some cause and effect with all of that too. And so we get to make sure that we're spiritually have spiritual hygiene and mental hygiene, and to still take care of some things in the middle. Because I mean, you would say you had challenges making all the three of your movies, right? I mean, it
Definitely.
wasn't just like, oh, this just because I'm a director, everything works perfect.
No, no, no. In fact, it's I'm so able and capable of speaking with such gratitude because it's been a constant practice. The uphill battle that you go through in exposing this type of stuff will wear most people out unless you can access gratitude, unless you can access true joy. A real dark sense of humor will help too. In all of this, like that, those types of things are, it's kind of like the thickening of the skin. And a part of that though is also stripping yourself of triggers. I think somebody who I really respect and love dearly, and it's just an amazing woman, is Kathy O'Brien. And she's, in her book, she put out a great book called PTSD Time to Heal. And they're very, very simple things that you can do to help you heal from PTSD. And just because you're, not a war veteran or, have gone through, physical abuse or whatever, all of us are living traumatized. We live in a farm that produces trauma and herds us and controls us through that trauma. And so all of us have that, especially going through, the way that we've been targeted the last few years by the mainstream media and social media companies, serving up the continual triggers, for their own political agendas, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that when people start to realize, that, and start waking up to the fact that, wow, that the words that are coming out of my mouth maybe aren't my words. And in fact, like when I say those words and I'm critically asked to analyze them and back them up, I realize I can't back them up. And when people start realizing that experience that they're living in, those triggers there, it's a simple process to stop living in those triggers. And when you do that, the mind sciences that have been calculated against the public, that you can look at MK Ultra as the origin source of some of that information that was developed, but you can look at it in branding and advertising and predictive programming that comes through. Anybody who's at a top ad agency knows, very well what needs to be said to sell something. Those same things are introduced into continual news propaganda cycles, films, media, music, all of those things. Those mind sciences have been calculated against you. And when you match those mind sciences with the data of what you like, your friends circle, the food you eat, all of the data that gets harvested from this digital world right now, what does that mean? They know how to serve up exactly to you, your profile, what will trigger you. And when you're triggered, you lose your power. You lose everything. You are no longer speaking from the authentic self that is you. You are living through a program that was introduced to you and you've been turned on. And when people start recognizing that more and really holding themselves accountable for the words and the opinions that they share to their fellow man, women, otherwise, life on this planet in whole, there's going to be an exponential effect that will render this type of mind science brainwashing ineffective, period, moving forward. People will see it, they're seeing it now, and they're recognizing and they're training their bodies to not react, to do those things. I could have been horrified this morning to get a 10-minute hit piece done on me on a mainstream media channel, and I will tell you the truth, I could not stop hysterically laughing about it. It was absolutely hilarious. It brought me massive joy to see that. And so when people start really understanding that the bigger priorities here is to maintain their own mental health. And, I understand, especially from the perspective of teens right now, what they're going through and our children are going through in regards to, what happened in 2020 and the lockdowns and the shutdowns. And so they need to be allowed to feel that pain. They're so hypersensitive in their growth cycle, and just being involved in this experience as a child, that they need to vent those things. They need to feel that pain sometimes. They need to be Eeyores. They need to do that. And the best thing that we can do is love up that darkness in people, allow them to be seen, that they're in those spaces. I feel you, I feel the burden you're carrying. And, going back to one of the things that was in Kathy O'Brien's book that I felt was just so strong is the ability to not voice negatives. And that if you do find yourself voicing a negative, to reinforce that with a solution. Don't voice
Yes.
it unless you can also voice a solution. And you have to understand that when you speak out loud and you speak these things, you are weaving into reality through the etymology of words, the manifestations of those words, the spelling and spells of those words in those spaces. And so if you catch yourself in triggered moments manifesting negativity by voicing those things, it is a simple practice to train your mind and train your body to then voice solutions for them. And it will not be long. It's like a bicycle too. Once you do it, you don't forget how to do it. And that is the undoing of these mind sciences that have been, calculated and turned on upon us in the form of mass advertising and data analytics harvesting and everything that comes with that. The expression of joy is individual for every person on the spectrum of experience here, and we all just need to do our best to help each other in triggered moments. If you see somebody triggered, let them be. When people are triggered, there's no reaching them. Have compassion. See somebody, if they're really triggered, do you really need to get in there and try to dig it in even more? You're not going to get any points across. You're doing nothing. Just love them up. Do the best thing you possibly can for them. And when you do that, that kindness and that love breaks every bit of that trigger down the road, and it's unforgettable. It will be unforgettable. They may forget why they were triggered, but they will never forget the kindness that you showed in places like that. And so those are my thoughts in the whole in regards to the Eeyore personalities out there and all of that. I feel you completely, totally understand.
I love it. Awesome. Yeah, conscious language is a biggie for me. And I get the whole, because what we speak actually manifests. And, there's books and books and books about this, and being careful about, I say, replacing. So, if you're saying something, that means you were thinking it or feeling it. So it's somewhere in there. And, instead of, the OCD cycles of, trigger loops that, even can go on within our mental, I have to catch myself too. At first, it's just being aware. Oh my gosh, I just thought that. Or if you heard it, say, be aware to even realize that you said it. Because for years, I was doing some things and saying some things, and I didn't even know that I was doing it until that awareness piece is really important. But when it did, yes, the replacing is so important, because otherwise, it's like, if you don't think of pink elephants right now, the first thing you're going to do is think of pink elephants. So if you train yourself to stop saying something, then that energy to try to stop actually creates it, because it seemed like it's so important that it actually creates it anyway, because this must be really important that she's, thinking about stopping it. And so, that replacement part of, just weird things that we say, like when we forget our keys or whatever, it's like we go, oh, I forgot my keys. It's like, no, you didn't forget your keys. You remembered your keys, And so it's the same way with every area and everything that we're doing, of just being aware and then replacing with something positive. That's really, really good. And that's what you were doing on an image level. You were replacing media. You were replacing the images. You were giving something for people to look at, whether it's the truth, the bad, and the ugly, or just to be an inspiration to activate something and go, gosh, I didn't know that was even going on. Wow, what can I do? And just get mad enough to actually think, that's unjust, that's unrighteous. Like, where's, the righteousness comes up, the justice comes up, and all of a sudden we have real life change happening, because people stand up and do something, and not just talk about it, not just think about it, but actually do something, put legs to, the ideas and the belief systems, to be alive. I love that word, believe, to be alive in something, to embody it, to embody truth, to embody love, to embody gratitude, to embody change in a positive way in this world right now. And so Do you have any final words before we wrap up here? I mean, you were just such an inspiration to so many of us, and we're just so excited.
I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to share, the message of the film and share a good conversation. It's always wonderful to share a conversation with people that, are in that same space of understanding and doing this work and of being of service. And you're incredibly dedicated to what you do. I see you every single day out there, starting these conversations, keeping these conversations going. And you know what? That is the most important thing that can happen right now for us collectively, is to communicate with each other. And, if we look at what's happened over the last year, we've been having hard times communicating with each other. We've, been forced to communicate through digital, realms and all of this. And, as we get kind of cycling closer to this eye of the needle kind of moment and passing through that, we all need to communicate with each other. We all need to have the ability to share conversations that can be vastly different in perspective too, and enjoy the ability to have those types of conversations, to really love the variety of thoughts that are found through all of us, through those types of conversations. And, really respect that from the standpoint of who we are as a species collectively, as, one being, here on this planet, being responsible for the stewardship of this planet now from that perspective. And, to anybody out there right now who's, feeling low and, having any kind of discouragement about where things are going, anybody feeling fear too, anybody in a real deep state of fear, take a deep breath and feel the love and joy and the celebration of what's truly happening right now. And it's the burdens being lifted off all of our backs. The burdens are being dropped here. We don't have to carry the burdens anymore through this system that's been broken. And there is just a revolution of bohemian beauty and thought and consciousness that is trying to flow through all of us now. And the sooner that we can remove the block through that consciousness to come through, the sooner that we can create the most beautiful experience that we have all ever strived for, that we've known is intuitively inside all of us. That's what's trying to come through every single person right now. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share. Again, if anybody is interested in watching The Deep Rig, go to www.thedeeprig.movie. Again, there's a live stream premiere happening of the film this weekend in Phoenix if you'd like to go there in person also to experience that. Thank you again so much for your time and connection and care. Greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. Awesome. And I can't do that because I have one hand holding up a phone to do this. So we'll just pretend this is like half of me, like going, I love you, you're amazing, and just so brilliant in how you express. I mean, it's poetic, of course, how I've said that before, but I just love your expression, whether it's an image, words, whatever you're doing. And I am really excited about seeing this Saturday. Yeah. I cannot wait. I'm so excited about this. And I hope all of you will do your due diligence and support this. Go to the link, sign up, be a part of this. This is a big, big thing that you get to be a part of if you just click that little button and grab that link and go out there and get set up for it. And will it be recorded if people can't be there live?
Yeah, there'll be a pre-record that you can watch afterwards too there, and that'll be available. And it'll be shortly released later in August through hopefully all of the kind of TVOD opportunities to do there. So, but definitely, if you can't watch it live on Saturday, you can watch the playback there too.
Awesome. All right, sir. Well, you have a beautiful evening. All of you guys watching, love you so much. Keep on being loved wherever you are, because you're where you are. I'm not where you are. So we need you to be loved where you are so we can keep doing our thing and just keep the ball rolling with love. Go to swiftfire.org. Please go to swiftfire.org and get on the newsletter. That way you know everything that's coming up, no matter what the censorship, no matter what's going on or what gets shut down. That is the one place that you can find out what's happening, the resources, the classes, whatever the situation, interviews that I'll be on. And I just appreciate you so much, guys. Love you. Go to swiftfire.org and definitely support Roger and all the things that he's doing. Thank you, Roger. We'll talk soon.
All right.
See you Saturday. Okay. Bye-bye.